Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another podcast. Now, I'm just going to start off by saying, well, first of all, the podcast is for college football. We're going to start there. Big week 3, huge week 3. One of the best weeks that we're going to have all year. One of the best games, multiple games that we're going to have all year with the Notre Dame game and the Georgia game. So much special stuff happened this week. We got Will back on the pod today. He's going to give his thoughts. On the list today, we've got Sellers Shenanigans, week 4 edition. I know everyone's been waiting all week. You know, I've gotten about 20,000 emails requesting week 4 edition. So we're gonna get there. So just calm down. We're getting there. Of course, we got OP as always. Laundry list. We've got a little bit of a laundry list. We got some items to get to. First of all, Akron's back, but I've used so much of this notebook at this point, and it's a travesty. There's a couple travesties. Watch when I try and open it. Look what happens. It flips back. And for those listening on podcast, the notebook is being a little difficult. So we're doing our best. Well, see, then I can't, it's just being difficult. It's being difficult. New additions to the podcast. Would you like to?
All right, so I've had this for a minute. Got it over Christmas, and I've used it a lot. But since I moved in, I haven't really plugged it in and actually used it. But it's really good with college athletics and college sports, and it shows all the scores and everything. Updates live. This is called a glance. It's called a glance, and it was something that was on my wish list for a while, and I got it, and I've loved it. But I just haven't set it up, and I was like, this will be great for the podcast, and have another item. We have a new football. Guys. New football. And it is a signed football by a player. You know who it is?
I know who it is.
He's now a football player. Jeremy Bernard signed it at Whataburger as a Dr. Pepper logo. He was signing some memorabilia and some items, and got this. It's like a real ball. So one of my other roommates and I went and got it, and it's going to be up here because we love Jeremy, and we're just going to put it right there. How about that?
And as we continue to advertise Dr. Pepper on our show, it really is. It's a thing. It really is. We love Dr. Pepper here, don't we?
I love a sponsor.
We also have, this is why it's going to be a tough podcast to film today. The Texans just lost a heartbreaker of a game. I wouldn't say I was mad. I would say I was sad.
Okay. You were pretty mad.
I was angry. I was angry at the Texans. I don't get angry with the college football world, but I got angry with the Texans today. But I am not a fair weather fan. We're not fair weather people on the podcast. We stand by our teams no matter what. I'm standing by the Texans. I've still got their helmet back there. And you might be asking, Robert, why on earth is the iPad on the armrest? That is because I like to rest my arm on the iPad. As you say, this is a very comfortable position. What'd you say?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to charge it, so it's at 2% and it's charging. So we have our stats. Our stats are still here, but they're just off to the right instead of right in front of us. They're just a little off to the right. But that's okay. That is okay. We're gonna push through. A lot of difficulties, a lot of change on the show today. I know it's hard to process, but it's it's moving forward. It's moving forward as we all are.
Of course.
So we are going to begin with number 25, as we always do. Number 25 is not a bad place to be.
Mm-hmm.
25 is a pretty solid number. If you put it in the square root, it equals 5. So, it's not bad. It's a good number. At number 25, I have Texas Tech, the Red Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Number 25, 24, 23, and 22 have not changed for me from last week because, they kind of didn't really do that much. Texas Tech, blew out Oregon State. That was great. They played Utah on Saturday. I can't wait for that game.
Huge game. 1 o'clock. Gus Johnson calling it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Which, by the way, is a travesty. I know we're going to talk about this more on our preview for week 5, or week 4 rather. But why on earth are they putting the Utah game at 11 o'clock Central? It's going to be like 10 a.m. there.
They commentate. So last year they commentated Colorado KSU at 11 o'clock. They always do one of those games from that conference at 11. And Gus and Joel Klatt always commentated.
And I don't mind them commentating a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
But don't schedule a Utah game for 11 because they're gonna have to get all. Imagine if you were a Utah student and one of the biggest games, maybe the biggest game of your season, is at 10 a.m. in the morning.
It's like 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure for them.
Is it 9 a.m.?
I think so.
That's terrible. I hate that.
Well, it's just it happens, but it is unfortunate for them. But it's gonna be a good game. It's a good one. I mean, I'm excited about it because I can just roll right out of bed and watch it.
It boggles my mind how much, there's so many people that make decisions about college football that do not care about college football. I get mad about it all the time. I don't like the leadership of college football. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Texas Tech, I will say, has been dominant in all of their games. And yes, you can always play the card of, they've only played, like Oregon State, my kindergarten and my preschool. But a lot of teams struggle against those teams. And they have proven that they don't struggle against those teams. That offense, of course, is great. The transfers, and this is an important part about having a lot of transfers on the team. It's really tough when you have a ton of transfers that you're bringing together and you're starting off like playing a really, really good team right out of the gates. Mm-hmm. Because it's tough for them to gel all together. But Texas Tech has gotten the luxury of being able to have a preseason before they play their big game. So I think that's going to help them out. I think that's going to give them a boost versus Utah.
I agree.
I've got Texas Tech at number 25. I don't really think that's all that controversial. Number 24, again, no changes from last week. I got the Auburn Tigers. Auburn did struggle a little bit with South Alabama, but again, I'm not really worried about that. They play at Oklahoma this week, so that might be a sort of a look-ahead struggle type of game with South Alabama, who isn't the worst team in the world. I mean, they're not the best team in the world, but they're not the worst team in the world. So I got Auburn at 24, undefeated. I don't know how much of a chance they have going up against Oklahoma, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Again, just to reiterate, these rankings are not merit-based. These rankings are just totally 100% power rankings. It is who I think will beat whom on a neutral field. That is what these rankings are. I don't care what the logo of the team is. I'm just saying who is going to beat the other team on a neutral field. That is all I'm doing. I don't care about resume. If I cared about resume, this would be totally different. I'm just reiterating that. Again, at 23, no change. I got Iowa State. Now, Iowa State, there is a little bit more to talk about with the Cyclones because they
struggled.
And no one really watched this. And this is another reason why I have a strong passion of hatred towards the AP poll. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I promise you, most of, if not all, of the people that voted on the AP poll had no idea about that Iowa State game. They didn't watch it. They didn't look at the stats. They were busy off watching the Georgia game. They didn't care. So Iowa State jumps to number 12 from number 14 in the AP poll. And I'll pull it up real quick just so I can give you another comparison. But when SEC teams and Big Ten teams struggle like that, they get demolished. They get dropped in the rankings. But when
it's unfair.
Iowa State struggles, everyone's like, well, I didn't watch it. I'll just assume that they're 4-0. Whoop-de-doo. So if you're gonna look at a rankings and don't look at the AP poll. It's ridiculous.
Well, what I can't believe is you have like Oregon, who went out, won at Northwestern, 38-10. Not a bad performance. Obviously they did not win by as much as they won by last week, but they're on the road. It's a road win, and they somehow dropped 2 spots. But you're rewarding ISU, who goes on the road and beats Arkansas State barely in a really tight game. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand it. I don't know. And yes, there was a lot of teams that lost from the 12 to 17 spot around that. There was a lot of teams that dropped out and lost. So that's why they obviously dropped. They jumped up 2. But it's come on, because Clemson lost, South Carolina lost, all around there. USF lost, Tennessee lost. There was a lot of teams that were in that 11 to 20 spot that all lost, and that's what happens. But still, I don't care. They should either drop some or just not drop at all, but definitely not go up.
Yeah, I don't understand how Notre Dame is literally a 4th and 11 away from beating Texas A&M, and they dropped 16 spots, and Iowa State is losing 16-17 to Arkansas State in the third quarter, and they jumped 2 spots. I don't know. It will forever boggle me how the AP poll is created. I don't get it, and we're not here to just lark on the AP poll, but I could talk about it for 30 minutes about how ridiculous it is.
Notre Dame's probably a turnover away from maybe winning against Miami.
Exactly. They're 4 points away from being 2-0.
they're right there at being 2-0, and they dropped 16 spots, I think.
16 spots.
From 8 to 24. I don't know. There's a lot of problems with it, but it is meaningless until the actual rankings come out. The rankings that are actually going to put these actual teams in the playoffs. So
that's true. But those rankings, those college football playoff rankings, are based on the AP poll. That's their reference point. That's where they start looking at.
It is, but
so I don't understand it. Again, like you said, it doesn't really matter. If it did, they would put more time into it, and Vanderbilt would not be number 20. At number 22, I have Missouri. Missouri dominated 52-10 last week against some atrocity of a school. I don't even know where they find these places. But they won, and Ahmad Hardy ran for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns and helped me dominate in my college football fantasy. So that worked out.
Breakout game.
This offense is scary. I will just say that. I mean,
it is.
Ahmad Hardy has ran for 100 yards in every game that he's been healthy at for Missouri. Bo Prabula has been unbelievably good. I mean, he's played way better than I would have ever anticipated. You could play the card of they haven't played anyone and go ahead and play that card. But they did put 42 up against Kansas. And a lot of offenses in college football have not been putting up those numbers against even much worse teams than Kansas. So I trust Missouri's offense a lot.
Real balanced.
Very balanced. They can run the ball and they can throw the ball. You don't see that very often with teams in college football.
They do it all. They got a big one at home against South Carolina. We'll talk more about that in the next few days, but
definitely that's going to be an interesting game because South Carolina's defense is, they did just get blown out by Vandy at home, but their defense is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
I will. It's not elite. It's not like it was last year, but it's pretty good.
They got talent for sure.
Moving on to number 21. This is an interesting team. I'm just gonna say the Utah Utes. I got a lot to say about Utah. First of all, they play Texas Tech, like we talked about, at 9 a.m. at their place. But they started the season with a bang, and everyone was kind of disregarding them in the preseason, not really talking about them. And Kyle Whittingham brings his team into the Rose Bowl against UCLA and absolutely crushes the Bruins. And everyone was like, oh, here we go. Utah is now an elite team. Now they're the Big 12 frontrunner. Well, it turns out crushing UCLA is sort of become a trend for Mountain West teams. So that's not really that impressive a feat. They went against some random school in week 2, and in week 3 they played Wyoming. And they struggled, especially offensively against Wyoming. Now you might just have scrolled through the box scores on Saturday night or Sunday morning, as many fans do, and you might have seen, Utah won 31-6, and you didn't even really regard it in your mind. You kept on scrolling. And that happens. But this game was really close for the most of the game. They pulled away in the fourth quarter, but they struggled. They struggled to run the ball in the first half. Devin Dampier couldn't really find his way to be electric like he has been in the past. And it's against Wyoming, so that's concerning.
And I think they were maybe looking ahead too. You got a huge one. I think they were on the road as well at Wyoming, right?
I think they were.
But I remember checking, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of a suspect one. I think Wyoming had the lead at one point, like they were up 3-0 or something, and I was like, oh, this could be an interesting one. And then I checked, and I'm like 31-6. Oh my goodness! So that sometimes happens when these smaller schools play these other larger ones, and they try to actually go out and win the game. They put it all out there. They risk everything, and the score kind of gets changed, and it looks like it was a total beat down, but it was only
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times people over-exaggerate with struggle wins against these teams. A lot of people say, oh, you struggled against an inferior opponent. Shame on you for only winning by 30 points. I think that a lot of times it's just early season things. I think that when we look back on Utah's season in 10 weeks, we're not going to remember at all that they struggled with Wyoming. It's either going to be, wow, this team fell apart in the Big 12 and got eaten up alive just like they did last year, or wow, this team's a contender to make the playoffs. And I don't think anyone's going to remember that, but it's just interesting. It's interesting to look at because if you're talking about what Utah has accomplished this season, yes, they're undefeated. You know, most teams in college football at this point are not undefeated, and Utah is one of those teams. But they haven't really done anything that special. So that's just interesting to think about. They are my highest ranked Big 12 team. So congratulations to the Utah Utes for that crown. And they play my second highest ranked Big 12 team, Texas Tech, next week. So I'm very excited about that
Big game.
At number 20, I have the only team in my rankings that is new.
Okay.
And they hopped all the way from unranked to number 20. And that's the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Andy.
Now, I literally just said, if you were listening closely, like 10 minutes ago, it's a travesty that the AP poll has Vandy at number 20. I have Vandy at number 20. The reason I think it's a travesty that they have it at number 20 is because their ranking supposedly is merit-based. If this were a strictly resume-based ranking, I would have Vanderbilt probably in my top 10. Because they've won 2 games on the road at night in raucous environments by dominating the other team in the second half.
Right.
That you don't see that all that often. Vanderbilt's scary. They're really scary. Diego Pavia just continues to put everything that he has on the line for this Vanderbilt team. It's awesome. It's frankly awesome. I don't know. I don't know what you have to say about it, but I love Diego. I love this Vanderbilt team. I think they're awesome.
I picked Vandy. I was very suspect about it. By the way, we got to go over all the games later.
We do.
All the pick'ems, but this was the one I was the most like, ugh, yikes! Like I'm going Vandy, but they're on the road, Williams-Brice Stadium. They gave it to South Carolina. I mean, they dominated this game. Pavia was running around. He was making plays, and it's just like keep on doubting us. Keep on doubting Vandy. Like, this is what they do. I mean, it's just incredible. They have 2 cupcakes coming up. They play GSU, Georgia State, a team they lost to, but they play them at home. They got so much better than they did towards the end of the year. And then they play another team I don't remember. I think they play
Utah State.
Utah State, that's right. And then they got Alabama. They're going to be coming in 5-0 going up against Alabama in Bryant-Denny.
It's going to be
There is a
man.
potential that is a top 20 matchup. Like, that could be a huge. I mean, it would be a top 20 matchup right now. It could be top 10. I mean, if Alabama and Vandy both went out going in that game, so that's going to be huge. That's something that everybody looked at like, oh, this is such a tough schedule for Vandy. How are they going to look? And then all of a sudden they're 3-0, and they're
probably going to be 5-0,
5-0,
yeah.
And they're going to be going into Bryant-Denny, and just that is going to be something. All the storylines with that. There's been talk. You know, Ryan Williams came out. Diego Pavia's come out, of course, and I mean, it's just going to be something.
It's going to be more than just the football game, which is concerning for both Alabama and Vandy, because they're going to have to really get their players to, you know, not play with emotion, but not play emotionally is what people like to say all the time. But Vandy just continues, and I read out a lot of these stats in the instant reactions video that I posted early Sunday morning. But Vanderbilt, if I can remember this correctly, they haven't beaten South Carolina since 2008.
Okay.
They haven't won their first 3 games by 20 or more points since like 1930. And they haven't won their first SEC game since 2007.
Clark Lee.
It's crazy what Clark Lee and Diego Pavia are doing. I mean, literally everything that they have said about Vandy that they can't do, it feels like they've done it at this point. So I don't. Nothing would shock me from Vanderbilt at this point. Mm-hmm. If they beat Alabama on the road,
no,
not shocked.
Not shocked.
If they beat Texas on the road, that doesn't shock me.
Doesn't shock me at all.
I mean, Vanderbilt they can beat anybody. I have them number 20, which after saying that might seem low, but again, the concern for me for Vanderbilt is just that the talent level is just not nearly as high as some of these other teams.
Right.
So the way that they win these games is by coaching the heck out of teams.
Chewing the clock.
By dominating possessions, dominating on third down, and then just wanting it more. That is how Vanderbilt wins these games, quite literally.
It's hard.
So this is an awesome story for college football that Vanderbilt is this good again this year. I hope it continues because I love Vanderbilt. But we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you
Vanderbilt,
what.
big story into my top 20.
I'll tell you what. Their defense has improved. You know, they got better as the year went on, and now it's showing. You know, they got a couple guys at linebacker that I really like, and man, it is impressive. Keenan Allen touchdown.
I'm going against Keenan Allen in fantasy. He
But
scored a touchdown.
Vandy's gonna be fun to watch next few weeks. Number 19. Who you got?
Number 19, I have this team same as I had them ranked last week.
Okay.
I've got Georgia Tech at number 19.
GT.
I don't want to say I had Georgia Tech. This is I think I had them at number 19. Yep, I had them at number 19, week 1, week 2, week 3, and now week 4. Georgia Tech beating Clemson shocked the college football world. I don't know why. I thought Georgia Tech was going to be great. I mean, I picked Clemson barely in that game, and it was really close. But I mean, going into this season, I looked at that game and I said, yeah, Georgia Tech might win that game, straight up. This did not shock me at all.
No.
Like, I went into that game, Georgia Tech at number 19, Clemson at number 18, and I said this game is going to be so close. I would not be shocked if either of the teams win. I think that the media has a tendency to undervalue teams, which everyone does, and then when they are proven wrong, they overvalue them.
Yeah.
To compensate for their undervaluing of them. Like the media is going to be the loudest supporters of Georgia Tech after this win, after not talking about them at all, which is kind of frustrating. But Georgia Tech, I have at the same spot because they haven't done anything to the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's shocking. They're much better than I thought they would be. This is what I thought that they were capable of. The stats on this game, unreal from Haynes King. His fight, he ran the ball 25 times, which is maybe not a sustainable way of quarterbacking in the Big 2025, but he ran for over 100 yards. He threw for over 200 yards, didn't turn the ball over. They stopped the run, kind of. They forced turnovers. The way they won this game is they played safe. Haynes King ran the ball really, really well. They forced turnovers and capitalized off of those turnovers. And they won the game. They had the better. Georgia Tech had an identity. They have an identity. Clemson doesn't have an identity.
No, Clemson does not.
And so that was impressive to see. They have a bell cow of Haynes King, and they have a defense that can force turnovers, and they have an offense that can capitalize off of them. So I've got Georgia at number 19. Georgia Tech, sorry, at number 19. And I really like. Haynes King is still to this day my favorite player in college football right now.
Another team where you talk about heart, just wanting it more. Clemson has the better athletes. Clemson has the better players. Clemson has the better everything. Clemson has the better, pro campus, everything that you want to put out there. Coach, everything. But they want it more. Georgia Tech wants it more. I picked Georgia Tech at the beginning of the season to win against Clemson. I picked them here, and I'm so happy they did. I want to watch this game, rewatch it, or not rewatch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I have to watch it. I meant to watch it today, and just work got in the way of everything. But I am so excited to watch this game. I've looked at all the numbers, and I was like, Haynes King rated 25 times.
25
like,
times.
I am so excited, but it was amazing. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I talked about this extensively on the Instant Reaction podcast, but that camera shot the camera zoomed in on Haynes King hugging Brent Key, and then zooming out to the whole rush the field of Georgia Tech Stadium. It was awesome.
That's why we love college football.
It is.
That is why we love college football. You've got a player who's bounced around. He was at Texas A&M. Now he's at Georgia Tech. I remember last year that interview after the Georgia game. He's like, "I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of losing." And he's able to win a big one against Clemson, who was has been a powerhouse, and they were looked at as possible champions this year, and it's just unbelievable. Talk about heart. I like that they're right by Vandy. I think those are two similar teams. I think two teams that may not have the most talent in the world, but they can find ways to win games. Can they do it consistently? We will see. Like as you said, I don't know, running Haynes King 25 times is a good way to win a game. You don't want him getting hurt. I don't know where you go if Haynes King is banged up, that changes the entire trajectory of the year. So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and that was the issue last year. Haynes King was banged up pretty much all season. He was never really at 100% last year towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
And if he's carrying the ball 25 times a game, that's going to happen again. It just is.
But he's tough. I don't think he cares.
But, I mean, we've seen this before, and he's gotten injured. So they're going to have to, when they play against teams that are not as talented as Clemson, don't run the ball with Haynes King 25 times.
I don't think
But I've got Georgia Tech at 19 again. Haynes King, my favorite player in college football in the preseason, continues to remain to be my favorite player in college football. Now we're going to number 18, and this may shock some people. But again, I think this is a team that was heavily overrated to start the year, heavily overrated going into this week, and now I think is getting heavily underrated because of recent results. I got Georgia Tech at 19, and I've got Clemson at 18, which I know doesn't make any sense. Georgia Tech just beat Clemson, but Georgia Tech just barely beat Clemson by 3 points at home with a 55-yard field goal. Clemson could have easily won that game. If Burr misses that field goal, if they don't scramble him out in time, if he pulls it wide to the left and Clemson wins in overtime, again, no one's talking about Georgia Tech. People are talking about the resiliency of this Clemson team. It was a really close game. And I mean, I had Clemson at 18 going into this week. AP poll had him at 12. So AP poll had Clemson way higher ranked than Georgia Tech and Clemson blowing them out. So they were shocked by this result. I had the number 18 team going on the road to the number 19 team, and the number 19 team barely beat them by a field goal at home. So to me, that's not shocking at all. I think if you put Clemson against Georgia Tech in a neutral field this Saturday, I would pick Clemson to win. I think they would. They're far more talented. It would be a neutral site, so you don't have to deal with the away crowd. And I think that they're still the better team than Georgia Tech. And I'm not just comparing them to Georgia Tech. I'm comparing them to all the other teams I have ranked above them. Dabo is still a great coach. He's still a winning coach. This team still has NFL talent on all three levels of the defense. I don't know if we remember last year, but last year they got dominated by Georgia at home to start the week, or to start the year. Lost by a lot to Louisville at home, and still managed to win the ACC and make the playoffs. Yeah. This season is not over for Clemson. They are still more talented than every team in the ACC other than Miami. And I think they could not easily, but it's not hard to believe at all that Clemson still can find a way to make the playoffs. I know that sounds crazy to people because they're 1-2, but those two losses are to two really good teams. Georgia Tech on the road, that's not an easy game to win. LSU, they're 3-0. That's not an easy game to win. So Clemson deserves a little bit of credit, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about that.
I don't like that they're above Georgia Tech, but would they win on a neutral site field, like if they played again? I'd say probably. So. So I know where you're coming from. I know why they're there. I mean I would lean with Georgia Tech over Clemson. I just don't think Clemson has an identity. I don't know. I know they have talent, but like wide receivers get open. Like Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore, all these guys who are talented. We know are talented and that have shown they can play. Like guys, make some plays happen. And then just the inability to run the ball, I think, is just a big thing right now. Like they have the talent to run the ball. Gio Davidson, huge recruit, not a huge recruit, but like a pretty big recruit. He's a true freshman. He made a lot of noise in spring. Like let's see him make some. Like obviously Adam Randall can run well. Jay Haynes can run well. So I just think there's too many question marks right now, and their defense obviously has talent too. And it's not like that game was on them. I think Georgia Tech, from what I've seen, like from what I've watched, the like highlights of what they've done and everything, and the numbers, they coached up a good game offensively, and the Clemson Tiger defense just like had they're like hands up, and they came away with a couple plays, but as you said, they're going to be favorited from here on out, regardless of like really what happened. Like they are going to be probably the favorites in every game they play. I'm interested in when they go on the road at Louisville. I think that's going to be super interesting.
It's a big game.
Will Clemson keep up with Louisville offensively? That is my question mark. Because we don't know the identity offensively yet for them. Like, they haven't shown that they can put up, 70 points like they did last year against App State. So, it's gonna be interesting to watch. They're gonna make adjustments. Dabo's a great coach, though. Yeah.
And that Louisville game's still a long way away.
Oh yeah,
but,
a lot can change. Adjustments.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to have Clemson. But Clemson doesn't want, I'm being the optimistic Clemson fan, saying they still have a chance to make the playoffs. They can contend in the ACC. They have enough talent to beat anybody in the ACC. But that's not the way that Clemson wanted the season to go. They didn't want to be, we're 1-2. Maybe we can find a way to scrap our way into the playoffs. Clemson thought, and the national media thought, this would be a year where Clemson would cruise to the ACC and then contend nationally for a championship. You can't look me in the eyes and tell me that Clemson has a chance to win the national championship. If you do that, you're on drugs at this point, because there's no way. That's why I have them at number 18 and not at number 4. So, again, I'm not saying they're elite, but I'm also not saying they're garbage, which is what a lot of people have been saying about Clemson. Moving on to number 17, I've got the Michigan Wolverines. Absolutely crushed somebody, 63-3. I forget who it was. Western Michigan. Congratulations, Michigan. You beat your Western foes. This is another very interesting team. We talked about them a lot last week because of the Oklahoma game. Bryce Underwood, I still believe, is immensely talented. He got a lot of criticism after the Oklahoma game. I'm not putting that game on him. Again, those wide receivers need to step up. Nothing really new there. They can still run the ball really well. They're going to need to if they want to win games against big teams. They got a big one against Nebraska coming up. I believe that's the CBS game this week. So that'll be really interesting. But Michigan, I really like them still as the fifth best team in the Big Ten. I got them as the 5th best team in the Big Ten, so still pretty good. And I trust this defense and this running game and the talent of Bryce Underwood to win them a lot of games.
The defense, man, and they got a big one versus Nebraska this weekend, and I think their offensive coordinator, I forget his name, he was like, we're gonna let Bryce, air it out now. Like, they're done playing games. Like, this is Bryce time. Like he's gonna make some plays. He's gonna throw it downfield, and I think they're basically just saying, hey, players win games, and so they're gonna put a lot of trust in Bryce Underwood on the road, I believe, at Nebraska, right?
Yes, on the road.
In a roadside game again, and I'm intrigued to see how it plays out, but you have the ability to lean on the run game with Justice Haynes. But to me, a wide receiver has to make a play. A wide receiver has to show that they can play. I don't know who that is. I think it is the Indiana transfer, Donovan McCulley. I liked what he did in the Oklahoma game. He was probably their best wide receiver in that game. But it could be somebody else. So we will see.
Yeah, someone's got to step up at that position if they want to beat the upper echelon teams in the Big Ten and contend nationally.
Exactly.
Moving on to number 16, a team that a lot of people don't have anywhere near their top 25, but a team that I still think is talented despite recent headlines. I've got Florida at number 16. Mm-hmm. They're 1-2. I know. They lost at home to South Florida. They just, Lagway, of course, threw 5 interceptions against LSU. I know. I understand that. People are clamoring to fire Billy Napier. People are clamoring that DJ Lagway is like the most overrated quarterback since Arch Manning. A lot of clamoring going on about this Gators team. I still think Florida's defense is really good. I still think that. They have not given up more than 20 points all year. I think if you told Florida fans that going into this year, they'd be saying, great, we're 3-0. But the offense has, of course, scored 16 points or less the last 2 games. So that's not great. I do like this defense. They stopped the run very well against LSU. They were good on 3rd down. the fact that Lagway threw 5 interceptions and they still only gave up 20 points is pretty impressive. One of those touchdowns was a pick six. So that's technically 13 points that they've given up on the road at LSU. So that's impressive. I still really like this defense. But now we have to talk about the offense.
Offense is so bad.
Now, my main concern with this offense, a lot of times a coach goes into the game with a game plan of either we're going to run the ball a lot and we're going to dominate the run, or we're going to throw the ball a lot. We're going to put the ball in the hands of our quarterback and he's going to go win the game. They put the ball in the hands of DJ Lagway
50 times.
And he did not have it in that game. It was obvious. And those 5 interceptions weren't just, my receiver dropped the ball and it, got tipped around and landed. They were all bad. They were all bad interceptions.
Every single one of them.
It was either throwing into triple coverage, or I'm about to get sacked. I'm just going to run around and just throw it over my head into a field of LSU defenders. They were bad interceptions.
Yeah.
Why on earth did you keep throwing the ball every single play? It's not working. Do something else. I mean, is that too crazy to say?
No, it's amazing. He was 33 of 49. 33 completions? That's insane. Having to throw it 49 times and completing 33 of them is insane. So I think a lot of people are like, DJ Lagway is the worst player ever to play the quarterback position in Florida ever. I'm like, well, he had to throw it 49 times and he completed 33 passes. That's pretty impressive. Those interceptions, not good. But, what do you expect of the guy? He had never played at a road game, at a road site like that, ever. I mean, look back at last year. Jacksonville, Florida. That was a neutral site game versus Georgia. They did play on the road versus Texas. I believe Graham Mertz got the start.
He was hurt. Lagway was hurt.
I mean, so he had never played a road game, and a true road game. And he has to go on the road at Death Valley to what some would say the hardest place to play in all college football.
Especially at night.
At night. Brian Kelly has lost once at night. And
you
only lost by 10 points. I know, you were there. You only lost by 10 points, and I think that's a testimony to how good their defense is. Their defense truly is. And against an LSU offense that hasn't popped yet, but we know can pop. We know that they probably can pop. I will say that. But I mean, running the ball, it doesn't hurt to run the ball.
At least try. When your quarterback throws 5 interceptions, at least try.
Jaden Ball rushed it 10 times for 49 yards. I believe around that. That may not be completely right, but that's pretty good. 5 yards a carry, basically. I don't know why you abandoned that. I mean, just asking a dude who's never played in a true road game to throw it 49 times is just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
So, Billy Napier, Florida, the coaching just continues to be, I mean, it's coaching, it's all the discipline, it's every week it's something else that it's this is why y'all are not winning football games.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think, obviously, the discipline, that holding penalty, that cost them that touchdown. If they had scored that touchdown, it's a completely different game. I think it was a 95-yard pass to the tight end. It was awesome. Of course, gets negated for a holding penalty. I think it was a hold. A lot of people kind of debated that. I think it was a good call. But Florida, against South Florida, you kind of lost because you were too aggressive on offense and you kept trying to hit the home run every single play.
Again.
It's you don't need to do that against South Florida. And then against LSU, why are you throwing the ball 49 times? Yeah. Your quarterback is throwing 5 interceptions. Please do something else other than what you're doing. It's not gonna. You're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's insanity. Literally, what they did was the definition of insanity. I don't get it. But remains to be true that Florida is very talented.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe that Florida can win these games on their schedule.
They can turn it around, and they were in the same spot last year, and they hadn't played a team like LSU yet, in my opinion. Yeah, you played a Texas A&M team at home. It was pretty good. You played a Miami team. It was pretty good. But actually, Miami was really good. But I don't know if you played an SEC team like LSU has. So, and on the road, I mean, but it only gets harder from here. And this is the thing. But maybe this will light a fire. It lit a fire under those guys last year. I think it lit a fire under Napier as well. So we will see. You obviously have the talent there, though. I think the talent is there. It's shown that you can throw 5 interceptions and only lose by 10 points. You know, you can throw the ball 49 times, not really have much of a run game, and only lose by 10 points on the road in Death Valley. So if I'm a Florida fan, I'm like, there's some positives from that. There's some optimism to be had. Obviously, a lot of negatives though. A lot being swirled around the media.
Definitely. Florida, I think, could beat Miami on the road. It would not shock me. I think they're very talented. Number 15, I got their bitter rivals, the Florida State Seminoles. They had a bye week this week. Not really much else to talk about with Florida State. Of course, really, really well coached. They stopped the run against Alabama, but sort of everyone's done that. So Florida State, number 15, they don't really play any big games until Miami, which should be a huge game. So very excited about that.
That is going to be a top 10 matchup, most likely.
Yeah, if Miami can survive against Florida.
If Miami survives and they keep handling business, that should be a huge game. I believe it is at Hard Rock this year.
I think so.
It is
in a few weeks.
It is at Hard Rock.
So they've got that to look forward to. At number 14, I've got the Ole Miss Rebels, who dropped one spot from last week. I didn't intentionally drop them. That's just sort of how the rankings worked out. Ole Miss had an awesome game against Arkansas. It was very entertaining. We had the not just the quad screen. We had quad and one more. We had quad plus one screen going Saturday night.
Yeah, we did.
And honestly, a lot of my attention was devoted to watching the Arkansas game.
No, yeah, and that actually went on the quad box at some point when
it did when
I realized
finished.
You can actually customize a quad box. I didn't know that. YouTube TV, like, it's pretty awesome. But this was a great game. A lot of points. I mean, so much excitement from that game that I had watching it. It was just like every drive there was something crazy happening, and it looked like Ole Miss was just gonna win the game, run away with it. They went up 10. I think it was 38-28, and it was like, oh, there's like 7 minutes left to play. They should be fine. Nope. Arkansas comes running back, and it was a tight one. It was not a tight one last year. It was a tight one this year at home, and I think that Ole Miss QB, I forget his name.
Trinidad Chambliss or something like that.
So he's a Ferris State transfer. I thought he was great, man. And they put in Austin Simmons, which was super weird, that one goal line thing.
I didn't understand.
And he's like limping, and he's like clearly in pain, like
just to throw a touchdown pass.
That was super easy, wide open guy. Like,
I think you could have thrown that touchdown.
I mean, they lulled the Arkansas defense to sleep with a fake or play action thing, and it's like, but I thought he was really good. He played I think he had like 4 touchdowns combined. I mean,
he threw for over 400 yards.
And look, we don't know how good Arkansas's defense is really. I remember kind of looking at them and scouting and saying this is a great defense, but it was an exciting one. I think Ole Miss needs to improve on their defensive end a little bit. I mean, you've given up a lot of points with Kentucky and Arkansas back to back.
Well, that's the scouting report with Arkansas that we kind of expected was, they've got a great offense. They're going to put up points, but their defense is not too great. Ole Miss should take advantage of that. To me, with Ole Miss, it impresses me still, and will probably continue to impress me until I die, how good Lane Kiffin is at getting the most out of the people that he has on offense. Again, transfer from Ferris State, and he gets them to throw for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns against an SEC opponent.
Insane. That's
not easy to do.
No.
So, in fact, it's very, very rare that someone throws for over 400 yards and has 4 touchdowns against an SEC team. And Lane Kiffin did it with a Ferris State transfer. So that's very impressive. But for the most part, that's not how they won big games last year. The way they beat Georgia was an amazing defensive performance. Against South Carolina, they allowed 3 points.
Yep.
This defense does not remind me at all of last year's defense.
You're not seeing any shades last year.
And that's very concerning. Of course, they lost most of what made that defense so good last year.
Right.
And I don't know. I have my doubts about Ole Miss's defense, which is concerning because if you play at Georgia this year, if your offense puts up the performance they did last year, you're not winning that game, at least in my opinion. So when they play the upper echelon teams in the SEC, and they will, I'm a little bit concerned for the Rebels.
And I was gonna say, well, like, look, I mean, their like offense is great, and if they could turn around on the other side, imagine how good they could be. Like, imagine how truly good they could be again. But remains to be seen. And
It does.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like Lane Kiffin in this offense. I don't trust the defense quite yet. That's why I don't have them as high as I have my number 13 team. Number 13, I've got USC. The Trojans won on the road 33-17 against Purdue. They had a big boy touchdown, big number 6. I don't know his name, but he had like one of the defensive line on USC caught a screen pass or something and ran it all the way. He was moving on that play too. He was
pretty well, man.
I think this USC defense is new and improved. Lincoln Riley has been ranting about this defensive staff all off season long, and they've been pretty solid against teams that are frankly not very good.
Mm-hmm.
But that should be an improvement, and I think it will be an improvement when Big Ten play really ramps up for USC. And I trust the offense. I trust what Lincoln Riley can do with a quarterback. We've seen it time and time again, and I think Mailava is going to blend really well into that system. And of course, Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon have both been fantastic. That was the scouting report. I really like this offense. I really like this team. They get tested in a couple weeks against Illinois, who's got at Indiana this week. So we'll see what happens there. But I've got USC at 13. I really like the Trojans. I think they're very talented. They also played Notre Dame this year. Could be a really interesting game as well.
Yeah, good. It's at Notre Dame. That's all bad.
Yeah, so I really like the Trojans. I'm very, very excited about them. And they finally got ranked by the AP poll. They're number 25.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I was even talking about them. And, I mean, granted, they played Georgia Southern and Missouri State, but, like...
That sounds right.
I mean, I feel like they deserved a little bit of talk.
It was surprising because usually the media is always so excited about USC, and then they turn out to be really overrated.
Last year, they got ranked 10th.
Yeah.
After their win against LSU, it was like, whoa, y'all, let's settle down.
Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, this year seems to be the inverse of that. No one's talking about them.
Yeah.
Top 12, top dozen teams. At number 12, I have a team that dropped just 2 spots. I've got Notre Dame. Now, what a difference one play makes in college football. And I'm talking about 2 separate plays in this Notre Dame game. First was a fumbled snap by Tyler Buckner. Of course, crazy career arc, by the way, in college football for Tyler Buckner. He
was a lacrosse player.
Player.
He's done it all.
He's done it all. He started at Notre Dame and sort of started off his career. It didn't really work out for him, so he follows his offensive coordinator to Alabama. Started a game there. Was terrible.
Oh.
Transfers back to Notre Dame. Takes another lacrosse sabbatical. Can we really blame him? And then comes back to hold kicks for Notre Dame and fumbles the extra point, which is just crazy. I never thought that Tyler Buckner would be relevant at all this year in college football. And I look at my screen and I see Tyler Buckner's face plastered on it the entire final drive of the game. What is going on with Tyler Buckner?
And what's crazy is I think Tyler Buckner's a wide receiver now, or he was last year.
Weird career.
They moved him around, but dog, he's been receiving some threats. I think I'm just gonna say that. I think it's terrible, but I think there's been some people calling his phone. There's been some people sending him some not so nice texts. But this was a crazy game. I mean, this was a wild game. It went down to the wire, and it just went A&M's way. And everybody's talking about, Notre Dame, they're not a good team. They're 0-2 for the first time since, I don't know. And they lost to 2 really good teams, 2 teams that impressed me a lot more than I was expecting them to look. They looked way better than I was expecting them to. And they could have gone their way. And there was a holding at the end of the game, a blatant one that the refs missed. If that's called, changes the entire game. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't just pin a guy down to the ground and just hold him there. That is a holding. That is holding your guy on the ground.
That's a great way to say it.
It's a different way of holding, but it's holding. You can't hold Donovan Heinisch to the ground, and it wasn't called. It was a missed call. It's frustrating as a college football fan because I feel like
missed calls.
that's great. One play away. I mean, that could have changed the whole trajectory of the game, and now they're 0-2, and everybody's panicking.
Yeah, the first play I was talking about was Tyler Buckner play. Second play was that 4th and goal, number 11, or from the 11-yard line, missed holding call, and Marcel Reed finds not Mario Craver, not Casey Concepcion, not any of their running backs, but like their backup tight end. I don't even remember what his name is.
Me either.
Number 87, his only catch of the game is a fade ball where he gets position and makes a great play.
Amazing catch.
And if you don't get that play, you lose the game. So, again, for Notre Dame, this could have gone any which way. And unfortunately, you start 0-2. An interesting fact, this is the third time Notre Dame started 0-2 in the last 15 years.
Okay. So it's not as long as I thought.
It isn't, but it's weird. Yeah, but those other years, of course, did go super well for them. But this one might. I mean, if I'm Notre Dame, the main concern that I have, and the ridiculous concern that I have, is based off of this. So A&M all year long, or all offseason long, I talked about them having an identity, and that's running the football. It's lining up and dominating. They have an elite offensive line.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, I believe that. They have one of, if not the best offensive lines in the SEC. And they have a great group of tailbacks. They go 4 deep at running back. So they should have run the ball really well. If I look at this game and I said, A&M won a shootout, they won 41-40, I'm assuming they ran the ball over 300 yards. But they only ran the ball for like 120 yards. Notre Dame did a great job of stopping the run. For the most part.
Secondary.
But they threw the ball for 360 yards.
Marcel went crazy.
That doesn't happen. And, by the way, he only completed 17 passes. He was 17 for 37. That's terrible completion percentage.
It just shows, like...
The problem was with Notre Dame is they allowed so many big pass plays.
Yeah.
A lot to Mario Craver, a couple to Casey Concepcion, and that's just not... That's not what we see out of Notre Dame. What happened to the secondary? I know they lost like pretty much everything that made them great last year, but you still have Christian Gray.
Christian Gray's great.
You still have coaches that really know how to develop this talent. It was so weird to me to just see the Notre Dame secondary get torn up. That's not how it's supposed to happen. And that's my main concern about Notre Dame. And you know who they play? Their next game is Arkansas. Arkansas has a great offense, great passing game. So
it's gonna be
they have to get it figured out soon. Actually, I think they play Boise State before they play Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't think they play them just yet.
But they have to get the secondary figured out.
And what I just can't believe is it was like this on Monday of Labor Day, week 1. Now, not to this extent where there was chunk play after chunk play happening, but Miami threw the ball, and that's what you're going to get out of Carson Beck. But to get this out of Marcel Reed, to be honest, I didn't have the most. I wasn't saying Marcel Reed can chunk it for 360. I was not saying that. I've seen some of his camp throws, and I was saying, ooh, because for whatever reason I wanted to go down a rabbit hole and watch Marcel Reed's training camp throws. I do not know why, but I wanted to do that, and I was not impressed. And he threw for 360, puts himself in the Heisman campaign, which is so much is going to change, but
no way Marcel Reed.
He's in there. He's in there. I've seen a lot of people that are like, he's the number 1 contender. He's the favorite now. But what I just can't believe is like they ran it more than the Miami game. But that's easy to do. But still, like, you have Jadarian Price, you have all these guys. Like, still, I feel like they need to just lean on the ground game a little more. But it's just weird that this game had so many points. I don't think anybody was expecting this.
No, I understand that. I don't think that the concern is the offense.
No.
I think they got the ball to Jeremiah Love a lot more, like you said, in the Miami game. Of course, he played great. And CJ Carr has been great. He was great against Texas A&M. I mean, if you told Notre Dame fans they would put up 40 points at home,
you would expect
it's like that should be good enough to beat any team in the country.
I would have expected a 20-point win. I mean, I would have said, oh, this is a blowout one.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought too. And yet, your secondary couldn't tackle. So you lost. A lot of people are saying Notre Dame's already out of the playoffs.
No.
If they win out, they are firmly in the playoffs, I think. Because also, you're literally 4 points away from being 2-0.
But what is intriguing is, like, if they went out, is there enough? Like, is there enough? Like, have you won against okay enough teams?
Well, it's USC.
It's interesting to
USC has
see.
a good year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If USC could go into Illinois and lose and get blown out, let's just say. I'm not saying that'll happen, but like, let's say that just happens, and like now Notre Dame's like, this is our resume. We got to win against Arkansas. We got to win against USC, who just lost to Illinois, lost to Michigan State, lost to all these teams, and then you have, let's say, a 10-2 Alabama that won at Georgia, won at Auburn, only lost to LSU.
Yeah,
So,
there's an argument to be had.
What are you gonna do? So, I mean, it is gonna be interesting, but Notre Dame fans, I feel like Notre Dame had to go 1-1 in these games, and to me, if I had to bet right now, I would have them outside of the playoff. Even if they go 10-2, I think I would have them outside of the playoff.
We'll see. Of course, so much has to happen in the college football season.
And also, I think not having a conference game, I think that's a big negative towards them as well. You don't get to play against the second best conference team or the top conference team in a neutral site game. I think that's a big negative. It's a huge con.
Yeah, it's
gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens.
Come college football playoff rankings time, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So interesting.
But Notre Dame, again, I have them at number 12. I still think they're a top 12 team in the country, regardless of their 2 losses. At number 11, I have the team that just beat them, Texas A&M. Of course, we've already kind of talked a lot about them because we just talked about Notre Dame. But A&M, of course, hasn't beaten a ranked team on the road since 2014. Dime to Quentin Johnson from Justin Herbert. Good for the Chargers.
Good for Quentin Johnson.
Look at him catching the ball out there. Who would
Oh
have
my
thought?
goodness.
Anyway, back to Texas A&M. First of all, I want to give A&M their props. Huge win for this program. I said this multiple times on the last pod, but best win for Mike Elko as head coach of Texas A&M. I think it's better than the LSU one last year. I think, again, it was unfortunate that A&M got knocked off of what they want to do. Mm-hmm. If you can't run the ball against a really good SEC opponent, can you lean on Marcel Reed to throw the ball for 360 yards a game to win these games? I don't think so.
Against SEC teams? No.
I don't think so.
They did it against Notre Dame.
They did, but Notre Dame's, I don't trust Notre Dame secondary.
But
The thing is with A&M, there's a couple things to talk about. Their schedule is not as difficult as a lot of other SEC teams' schedule. We saw that last year too. But a lot of their games that people are saying, oh, these are the ones they could lose. South Carolina's not looking very good. Florida's not looking very good. You got to play at Missouri. That could be tough.
You've got Auburn at home.
You got Auburn at home. You got LSU on the road. That's going to be tough. But last year, A&M was able to run the table. They lost a couple SEC games, and they went into the Texas game with a chance to win and make the SEC championship game. I think we could realistically see that happen again with their schedule.
I do too. I absolutely agree.
But I think the thing that is more concerning than the rushing game, not winning you the game against Notre Dame, people raved about Mike Elko last year as he was hired by Texas A&M and all throughout the season about this defense. This, oh my gosh, the Mike Elko defense, man. He knows how to draw up these blitz packages. He knows how to get in your head. Just watch out for Texas A&M's defense, man. They're going to be great. What defense are you talking about, man? I haven't seen it. Just look at the games that he's lost. Against Notre Dame, you give up 40 points. That's not an awesome, dominant defense. Against South Carolina, you got dominated last year. Against Auburn, they dropped like 45 points. Yeah. I have not seen the dominant Mike Elko defense that I was promised. Which, if A&M's identity and how they're supposed to win games is we're going to run the ball really well and we're going to dominate you on defense, they're not. If that's what they're supposed to do, they're not winning any games in the SEC because they can't do that, as far as I've seen. So I don't know. I know that I'm really splitting hairs here. I should be really, really excited about A&M's big win against Notre Dame, but it's a thing to be concerned about.
Yeah, and I've got the Aggies at number 9 in mine. I'm doing power rankings now because you're in power rankings. I said fine, I'll do power rankings too. I did a little bit of merit, a little bit of power last week. I've got them at number 9. I have Illinois at 10 still. I'm not changing that. I have them at number 9. I know they gave up 40 points, but I think Notre Dame has a good offense. I think Notre Dame has a really good offense. I thought they had a good game plan. I think it's hard when you're going up against Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price. I was about to say Cohen Carr. CJ Carr.
Cohen Carr, what a legend.
Michigan State.
Oh, I love Cohen Carr. Sorry.
Like it is hard going up against those guys, and I think Notre Dame's got a really good offense. So I think that's why they gave up that many points. I think they can turn it around though. I know Mike Elko is a defensive mind. I know he hasn't shown it yet, but I think he can turn it around. So I've got them at number 9. I think I'm just so impressed that you can throw it for 360 with Marcel Reed, but you can also run the ball as effectively as you can. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you stop that if you're a defensive coordinator and you're trying to get ready to go play A&M? I mean, that's what I think is so hard with what Auburn has to do. They got to play Oklahoma, high offensive team, like obviously has like incredible offense, and then you got to lace them up. Very next week you got to play Oklahoma on the road, or sorry, Texas A&M on the road right after Oklahoma.
It's tough.
I think that's super difficult. I think that's going to be a shootout as well, but I think we need to see. I agree. It's a bit of a concern that they've given up this many points, but I think they can turn around. I really do. I think Notre Dame's a solid offense. So yeah,
I think they are too. But Miami held them to 24 points.
Yeah.
I don't think people are saying. I don't know. I've just been bothered by the lack of a dominant Mike Elko defense. I was promised that. I was promised my amazing defense, and I haven't seen it. That's why I have them outside the top 10. At number 10, I have a team that jumped 4 spots, even though they lost. I've got Tennessee, the Vols. Now, this is very interesting for a lot of reasons. I was not as excited about Tennessee heading into this year. I thought they could go 8-4, 7-5.
Me either.
I didn't think they were going to contend for the playoffs. I thought they would start the year by winning their first 2 games and losing, pretty badly at home against Georgia. I was right in that they would start the year 2-1, but I was very, very impressed by what I saw from Tennessee against Georgia. Of course, one of the best, if not the best, games of the whole year that we witnessed. At Rocky Top.
Amazing.
Just such a great environment. I mean, who doesn't? If you don't love college football, if you're dating someone that doesn't love college football, you're trying to become friends with someone that doesn't love college football. Show them that game. And if they don't love college football after that, they just might not be the person for you. I don't know. But that game was awesome. I think if I'm Tennessee, the main concern leaving that game is, wow. Gunnar Stockton had a lot of faith in his receivers downfield to go and make plays against our corners, and they did. Parker Livingston made a bunch of big plays. Zachariah Branch outran some of your defensive players. I mean, they made plays. The receivers made plays against your corners one-on-one.
Wait.
Well, I have good news
Parker
for you.
Livingston? That guy's on Texas.
What's the white dude? London Humphreys. White dude on a good SEC team.
Sorry,
London Humphreys. Thank you for the correction. No, I appreciate it. London Humphreys. The Georgia wide receivers making big plays on the Tennessee DBs.
Yes.
But I've got good news for Tennessee. Those are your backup DBs.
Exactly.
McCoy and Gibson were both injured that game. Right. If you have those 2 players in the game, I am confident in saying that Tennessee would have won that game by double digits.
Oh.
Because that's pretty much most of Georgia's offense.
It was.
Except for the one drive early in the third quarter. But if I'm Tennessee, my main concern is remedied because you have the talent to completely fill that vacancy. The thing that I'm excited about with Tennessee, and I went into this game and I saw how well they started. I saw a beautifully executed plan from Josh Heupel in the first 3 drives of the game. Joey Aguilar was 3 for 3. He was perfect. You couldn't have been better in the first quarter than what Joey Aguilar was. And then I said, you know what's going to happen? The script's going to run out, and they're not going to be able to improvise, and they're not going to have the talent to continue this dominance throughout the rest of the game. But boy, was I wrong about that. And it looked like that in the third quarter. They looked dead in the water. And I remember I told you, I said, someone's got to make a play. And it was Chris Brazzell made a bunch of big plays.
I was getting Jalen Hyatt vibes.
I know you were. You told me that a bunch of times. But I think that Tennessee, and this is the thing that I doubted, I think Tennessee has the playmakers to step up and make plays. I didn't think they had that going into this year, and they proved me wrong. So shout out to the Tennessee wide receiver core for doing that. I think that, again, Josh Heupel's a genius. They didn't run the ball super, super well against Georgia, but it's Georgia. No one really runs the ball super, super well against Georgia. I really liked what I saw. Again, we were a 48-yard field goal away from Tennessee beating Georgia, and everyone talking about Tennessee as like a top 8 team in the country. So I've got Tennessee at number 10.
Yeah, I've got them just outside. I was going back and forth between them and Illinois, which I know is ridiculous, but I love my Illinois Illini. I'm not changing them at 10. I'm just gonna keep them at 10. I've had them at 10 for like 3 weeks now. I'm not changing it.
Big orange fan.
So quit asking, everyone in the comments.
Everyone in the comments.
If y'all are commenting. I was really impressed with Tennessee. I thought this was going to be a really close game. I thought it was going to come down to the last possession. I really did. But I think so much of what Tennessee does plays into Georgia's favor. When they play them, when they always get together, it plays into their favor. It felt like it was trending into that, where it's playing into Georgia's favor. Georgia's gaining momentum in the second half and everything. And then Joey Aguilar would throw a downfield shot, and Chris Brazel would make an incredible catch. I do have a concern. Joey Aguilar's short to intermediate routes was inaccurate. He was inaccurate at times in some big plays, and it felt like they got a little lucky, I think, with some of those chunk plays where Chris Brazel would just go up and just head top someone to make the catch. I think they got a little lucky. They could run the ball fairly well at the beginning of the game. That kind of died out as it went on. I feel like they couldn't run it as well as it went on. That last drive actually was really good, right before it went to overtime. But I feel like they got a little bit lucky. But I think the optimism is you were without Jamal McCoy and Ricky Gibson, and you kept it this close. And it just shows what a good coach Josh Heupel is. I was not looking at this team as the most talented roster they have ever had. But boy, they can coach. They played really hard, and as Kirby Smart said, they should have won that game. Tennessee should have. But I was impressed, man.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think I would be saying that about the Vols, but I got them at number 10. Next up for me, number 9. I had a team that cruised to a win yet again. I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide. They were number 9 last week, and I believe they were number 9 the week before. No, they were not. They were 11 the week before. So I've got the Tide at number 9 for the last 2 weeks. They dominated Wisconsin on both sides of the ball, really. They scored 14 points. One of them was a kick return. The other one was sort of in garbage time. Great throw by the Wisconsin quarterback, by the way. But the Crimson Tide, Ty Simpson has been amazing. He's been elite with his throws against man coverage. He's been smart. He's been everything you really want a quarterback to be, honestly, for Alabama since the Florida State game. This Alabama team still hasn't turned the ball over, not once in the first 3 games.
So refreshing.
It is. They have yet, of course, under the DeBoer era, to have less penalties than their opponents still, which is crazy. We'll continue to monitor that. But even against Louisiana Monroe and Wisconsin, they had more penalties than the other team, which is still concerning.
Watch us get less versus Georgia.
Honestly, it might happen. We'll see. With Alabama, though, the main concern, of course, I'm not really concerned about the defense. The linebackers, maybe a little bit, especially because of the Florida State game. But main concern for me with this Alabama team is their lack of an ability to run the football.
Agreed.
And it's not good when Ty Simpson is your leading rusher. And, I mean, how many designed runs did we have for Ty Simpson?
0. They were all scrambling plays.
So when your leading rusher is your quarterback from scrambling, that's not a good sign.
There was one right by the goal line on the one where we got a touchdown with Jeremy on the jet sweep. We had one that was like a QB draw.
Oh, you're right.
Inside the 10 got us like the 5 or the 4. That's it. That's the only one I remember. I agree.
And that might help the Tide when Jan Miller comes back.
I think so.
But Jan Miller is not like I'm going to absolutely take over the game and be one of the best running backs in college football type of guy. That's not really what he does.
No, but he's going to provide way more of a balanced attack. I feel like Jam's gotten way bigger, as you've seen. He's more of a workhorse, I feel like, than some of these other guys who kind of want to cut. Kevin Riley, I'm still like trying to figure out what type of runner he is, because he's a little bigger, but he's not like gonna run you over necessarily. He ran over one guy, but like it was like a 2-yard game, and like he's quick. But Jam, I feel like Jam is more of a workhorse. He's going to run you over. I think it's going to really help us. It's going to give us an identity in the run game. But we will see. But it's huge. Jam's going to come back against Georgia, because that's a game where you want a run game. You don't just want a pass game.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Tide have a bye week, and then they play Georgia. Kalen DeBoer has not been great on the road in his tenure at Alabama. He'll try and change that. I think that's going to be an amazing game. I cannot wait to watch that game.
Fun. I've got Alabama at number 8.
Number 8, okay.
So right there with you. I've covered 10, 9, 8 with you.
Nice.
And I mean, look, I was also very impressed. It is Wisconsin, but is this nice to have going into Georgia? Absolutely. And I thought Ty Simpson was just so accurate. That was the main takeaway of mine. Ty works with Ryan Grubb, with Kalen DeBoer. Jalen Milroe, we asked him to do some things that he wasn't the most comfortable around compared to the Tommy Rees offense. I feel like Ty works with this offense. Like this guy's the mold of what we want an Alabama quarterback to do under Kalen DeBoer. And it's been so refreshing to be 0 turnovers. And of course he's waited his turn. So it is nice to see.
Definitely. I think Alabama can beat anybody in college football.
I do too.
Except for maybe Florida State. Moving on. Number 8, I have Oklahoma. The Boomer Sooners, baby, Boomer Sooner. John Mateer continues to look great. Of course, they just played Temple. They just crushed Temple. I thought that they were going to struggle in this game, to be completely honest. I was more excited about Oklahoma going into this year. I picked John Mateer to win the Heisman preseason. I picked Oklahoma to make the playoffs preseason. I picked Oklahoma to beat Michigan and to beat Auburn. And I looked at this Temple game, and I saw it sandwiched in between these massive home games. And it's on the road in Philadelphia, and I was saying, this could be concerning for Oklahoma. It was not concerning at all. From start to finish, they demolished Temple. This Brent Venables defense continues to look amazing. John Mateer made a couple just crazy plays in that game, just like he did against Michigan. The concerns, I do have a couple concerns about Oklahoma. I'm not going to say that they're perfect. Special teams has not been great for the Sooners, especially against Michigan. They made some special teams mistakes. They tried to hand that game away. You can't do that against some of the teams in the SEC, especially in close games. Also, Oklahoma, similar to Alabama, has not really developed a run game other than John Mateer. John Mateer ran the ball, a lot. I think he ran the ball 18 times or something like that against Michigan. But they have not really been able to establish a consistent run game, which is concerning.
Right.
And they've got Auburn this week, who has stopped the run pretty well against Baylor. So if you have a better rushing attack than Baylor, that's good. But it could be concerning in the SEC when you can't run the ball. But again, Oklahoma's defense, one of the best in the country. I love Brent Venables' defenses. They're so good. They don't get any credit, but they're so good. And John Mateer can go win you a game better than almost any quarterback in college football.
Yep, I've got OU at 6. Got them at 6. So
I don't hate that.
I'm really high on them. I'm going to continue to be high on them. I just think on every side of the ball, well, other than the special teams, I'm very, very impressed. I didn't watch the game they had last week versus the Wolverines, but I will have to go back and watch the special teams breakdowns.
It's just stuff that they
I didn't really notice it, but I never watched that game because I was Alabama UL.
Yeah, I was watching the Oklahoma game, not the Alabama UL Monroe game, even though I was at the stadium.
I understand. It was a big one.
It was. At number 7, is a team that I desperately wanted to put below the number 8 and the number 9 team because I am not as impressed as the entire college football world about this team. I got the LSU Tigers in number 7. Now, LSU has achieved a lot. They've beaten Florida and Clemson, who I have at number 16 and number 18 in my power rankings. Those are 2 of the best wins of the year for any team. So hats off for LSU for that. I'll start with the good. The good is this defense is unreal. Blake Baker has done such an amazing job. Big shout out Brian Kelly for fixing a problem through the portal. They did a great job in the portal. They did a great job with the coaching staff. I really like this LSU defense. It's one of the best in the SEC. It can win you games, which we haven't seen from an LSU team. Of course, 10 points allowed to Florida, 10 points allowed to Clemson on the road. That's not easy to do. In fact, that's really, really, really hard to do. And against Florida, shout out LSU for just sort of letting DJ Lagway be terrible. And they didn't do too much. They just said, "Oh, you're gonna wheel out a guy that's throwing. You're gonna keep doing that. All right, fine. We'll win the game." But the concern, I'm sorry, Brian Kelly. I don't want to do this. I know you just won a big game at home against Florida, and I know you don't want to hear about this, but the offense has not scored more than 23 points this year.
Why are you asking that question? That's not the question. We played the game to win the game.
What about third down, Coach?
You were
What about third down?
You were spoiled. It's hilarious. I mean,
Y'all can't run the ball. You can't run
every
the ball.
week there's going to be a new Brian Kelly clip after the game where he's just going to go, "We're sitting here again.
I actually love that. I think that's awesome for him.
I'm not a huge Brian Kelly fan.
I'm not, but I love his press conferences. I'll watch Brian Kelly press conference any day of the week. It's fun. But anyway, again, LSU's offense, Nussmeier has sort of been like he was last year. I've seen him make NFL level throws this year too. Against the touchdown to Xavier Thomas, that was like a 30-yard rope over the middle of the field. Not everyone can make that throw, but he has been very inconsistent yet again. This was the same story from last year. He had a bad interception in this game against Florida.
He did.
Those wide receivers haven't necessarily stepped up and been groundbreakingly amazing, and they struggled to run the ball consistently. So this offense, I have major concerns about. You know, what happens when you play Ole Miss or when you play Alabama or when you play some of these teams that can light it up and you give up 30 points?
Yeah.
Can you put up enough points to win those games? I haven't seen enough from LSU that's proven to me that they can. I still think LSU is I have them as the number 3 team in the SEC. I don't even know if I agree with myself on that. I think they're great. Their defense is spectacular, but their offense leaves a lot to be desired. I still don't have LSU in the playoffs, which is crazy. But I don't know. I don't have enough trust in this offense.
What's crazy is that's what everybody came in talking about. This offense is going to provide, and the other side of the ball is like it looks improved. It looks better.
It'll
than
be
last
good
year.
enough.
Anything can be better than last year.
Yeah.
Anything can be better than last year. Yeah, it'll be good enough. And that hasn't been the case. Everybody expected the run game to just magically get better, which I was like, is it going to magically get better? You lost one guy who was a round 1 draft pick on the left side, and then one on the right side, Emory Jones, who was a draft pick as well, and then everybody in the middle left except your center, Chester, DJ Chester. And we just expect, this run game is going to be way better than last year. Nope, you lost talent. How does it get better? And Nussmeier's looked very, just kind of average. Has dropped some good throws in there. I will say that, but like consistently, is he doing that? Not really. And the offense just leaves a lot to be desired. When they got to go on the road at the SIP and play, oh my goodness. Like
these SEC teams can score points.
I mean, and you got to play A&M. You got all these. You got to play Oklahoma. I mean, you got all these games where you're playing some high-powered offenses. Can you keep up with those teams? It's a little different than the last few years where the negative was the defense. It's like the defense is giving up so many points. This year they're much improved, one of the best in the country, I think. But the offense has just got to come together. But you have the opportunity. I think they play Southeastern Louisiana, so you have an opportunity to get a chance to maybe get an a solid offensive performance.
Yeah, definitely.
Finally, I actually messed up and I didn't put LSU in my rankings, but I have them at number 6, Oklahoma 7, the 8th team we haven't talked about yet, 9th Alabama, 10th Texas.
Okay, at number 8, do you have Miami?
No.
I got Miami number 6.
Okay.
Canes had a dominant win against South Florida. I think you thought it was going to be dominant. I thought it was going to be dominant.
I thought it was going to be dominant. I thought they were going to dominate the line of scrimmage, and it looked like they did from what I watched of it. I didn't watch much, but I was just like, this one's going to be a blowout. I really just I think Miami they went to the portal, addressed their needs, and I've got them even higher than where you've got them. So
I understand that.
I'm very impressed. I didn't know if I would be this impressed. I was not expecting to be this impressed. But the U is back, man. They look great, I think.
Yeah, I'd say what's impressive to me about Miami is they play simple, winning football on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They don't get too aggressive. They don't try to do too much. And frankly, that's a recipe for success in the ACC because you don't need to do too much, especially with this schedule. So, Miami, front runners in the ACC, I think anyone would tell you that, and they would be correct. They do play Florida this week. This might be their toughest game left in the regular season. They do play Georgia Tech. But with Miami,
You also have FSU.
I think that, and FSU, but I think the Florida game,
Yeah, it's a big one.
we'll see. I'm really excited to watch that game. I
Me
think it's
too.
going to be closer than what the experts might say.
Agree.
At number 5, I have Penn State.
Penn State.
Do you have them at number 8?
I do not.
Do not have them at number 8. I got Penn State at number 5. Their season still hasn't started yet.
But I've been impressed with what I've seen. I mean, they look good, you know.
I don't want to talk about Penn State. Can y'all please schedule somebody?
I've also got them at number 5, but I mean, Drew Aller's passing it to wide receivers. That impresses me. I think if you got some wide receivers that can get open, that Drew Aller can throw it.
Yeah,
to,
against
you
Villanova.
can be a playoff team, but I'm gonna have to see it in the actual true big games. But I like what I've seen against smaller teams.
Sure.
It's gonna win 66-7.
Sure.
7.
They won 52-6, I think, against Villanova.
I think they were up like 60.
I am so disgusted by Penn State and their why. I hope that Penn State does. I hope they lose to Oregon. I hope they lose to Ohio State. And I hope they miss out on the playoffs because they didn't schedule anybody in the non-conference. It's weak. It's weak scheduling. I really hope teams. We've seen this from teams this year have scheduled really difficult opponents to play in the non-conference.
Yeah.
Penn State didn't. I really hope they get penalized for that. I mean, Ohio State played Texas. Michigan played at Oklahoma. Please, I mean, even Oregon played to somebody. They played Oregon State, who's not somebody, but they were when they scheduled them.
I mean, Alabama played FSU and lost.
Yes,
on
and they
the
played
road.
Wisconsin.
And we play Wisconsin.
Please, Penn State, next year, the year after that, schedule somebody in the offseason. I don't want to watch this nonsense of an offseason schedule. It's embarrassing. I think it needs to be addressed. I really hope they lose to Oregon and Ohio State and miss the playoffs.
Although they look good so far. We have to give them their flowers.
Whatever. I'm just mad about that.
I've got them at number 5 as well. I don't know if I told you that.
I think you did.
Okay.
I think I know you.
They play, so next year they play Marshall at Temple, Buffalo at Maryland, at Michigan.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Oh my God! At Northwestern, Minnesota, Purdue, Rutgers, USC, Wisconsin, at Washington. They get to dodge Ohio State and Oregon.
That is horrible. Penn State, I hate that.
I'll tell you though,
that is the worst thing ever.
They're gonna lose a lot of talent off this roster. They're gonna lose
It's
a lot
ridiculous.
of talent.
Please schedule somebody. That is the worst thing ever. Goodness, I hate that.
Number 4? Are you on to number 4?
Number 4, I have Georgia.
I have Georgia too.
I really loved what I saw from Gunnar Stockton. Their defense played great. They, for the most part, their corners and their secondary concerned there. But their front seven was pretty good. I don't know. Again, this Georgia team isn't perfect. They're not as good as they were in 2021. But they found a way to win that game, which is really not an easy thing to do. Kirby said they didn't deserve to win the game. I believe they did deserve to win the game because they won the game in overtime on the road against Tennessee. They had to come back in that game, and they crawled it, and they really fought for it, and they got it. So I have a lot of respect for the way they won. I love these wide receivers a lot more than I did last year. Gunnar Stockton, I think, is phenomenal in this offense. And another thing I love about Mike Bobo, a lot of people really like to trash him.
Ooh, a lot of Georgia fans.
Yeah, they do. But my favorite thing about Mike Bobo is how in these big games on the road, a lot of offensive coordinators like to work their quarterbacks into these games with, a screen pass or a short pass or a check down to sort of get them in rhythm. Mike Bobo says, what we're going to do? We're going to put our best one-on-one receiver on the outside against one of your corners, and we're going to run a go route, and we're just going to huck one to him. And they did that against Alabama last year, and it was a perfect throw by Carson Beck, perfectly executed. Arian Smith just dropped the ball. But this year, they did it to, what's that big receiver that Georgia has? I forget his name all the time.
Noah Thomas?
No, not Noah Thomas. The other one that
Jacoby Young.
Jacoby Young, that's his name.
Or Colby Young.
Colby Young. So they hucked the deep ball to Colby Young on their first play, and it was a
Huge,
perfect throw from Gunnar Stockton. Established what they were trying to do during that game. I love that from Mike Bobo.
You know what? I think
really
this is a very different Georgia team than we have seen in the past. Their defense is, to me, it is breakable. Like, you can go out and I think Tennessee got lucky on some of those stories, as I've said, but like, you can put some points up on this Georgia defense, and we kind of saw that last year at times. I think we're going to see it a lot more this year as a trend. I don't know. Their secondary isn't as good, I don't think. Linebackers are solid, but the secondary, I think, if you can pass the ball really well against them, as Tennessee did, you can put up some points. But Gunnar Stockton, how clutch was he? The throw to London Humphreys. I think I had Georgia at 4 last week. I got him at number 4 again. I mean, that is a huge road game.
Huge win.
Huge road win. In that environment that pumps in all that noise, it's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. At number 3, I have Texas.
Okay.
I know a lot of people hate what Texas has been the last couple weeks with their lack of explosiveness on offense. Arch Manning threw 10 straight incomplete passes against UTEP, which is like the most incomplete passes in a row from Texas in a really long time. Obviously has not lived up to the hype. The offense has not looked like a Steve Sarkisian offense. It's looked like a Tommy Rees offense. And that's not what you want to see out of Texas. No hate on Tommy Rees.
Tommy Rees was great.
He was, but
I think Tommy Rees gets too much.
Okay, whatever.
Tommy Rees was
about.
smart and conservative, and he was great. I love that. I loved it. I love Tommy Rees.
Sorry,
oh,
I said
man.
that off. That's my bad. Anyway, with this team, of course, that's been the main criticism. They still have, in my opinion, the best defense in college football other than Ohio State. So I'm not concerned about Texas because I think their defense is amazing. And as much as I want to throw this offense under the bus, it's still Steve Sarkisian. And I still have to have just a little bit of blind faith. Of course, so much talent. These recruits, the transfers they've gotten, so good. They just need to put it together. And I trust Steve Sarkisian to put it together at some point. That's why I have them so high and ranked at number 3.
All right. You ready?
Sure.
I got Texas at number 8. Think maybe number 9. No, I have them at 8 above Alabama.
Okay.
Texas A&M. Arch Manning. Look, I mean, I don't understand why there was so many. Everybody just immediately at the beginning of the year was like, Arch Manning for Heisman. Arch Manning Heisman. Arch Manning Heisman. We have not seen him play in a road game ever. We had not seen him play in a road game, and we finally saw him play against OSU, and a lot of the media was like, Arch Manning was terrible. He did not play well. I don't think that game was all on him. Was he inaccurate? Yes. But it's what you expect from a guy who's never played in that type of game, in that huge type of game. To me, when I went and watched Arch Manning as a high school recruit, he throws a very heavy ball, a ball that has a lot of zip on it,
A lot of dip on the chip.
a lot of dip on the chip. Whereas a guy like Tua would just throw a graceful little ball. I think that was something I noticed. Arch throws a very heavy ball. He's continued to throw a very heavy ball all throughout his career at Texas. Just something to note. It's not something I like. It's not something that you see the elite quarterbacks really do. And he played against 2A high school teams. And I remember watching that when I was in high school and saying, this is a concern. But Arch Manning has talent around him. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't have more than 27 points against UTEP. I don't remember exactly how much they had, but
It was 27.
to me, there's just no reason why you shouldn't have that. I think Arch Manning doesn't have a lot of confidence right now, and I think he's got talent, but he doesn't have a lot of confidence because the media's been so just all over him. I mean, with everything that he does, but I'm a little concerned. I won't even lie. That offense just has not looked good, and to me, Arch Manning's looks very average. We will see if this guy can turn it around, but I've not really been impressed. And to me, I've thought it was ridiculous. Out of high school, this guy got so much praise. I mean, I know why, but I thought it was ridiculous. Everybody was like Heisman him right away, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
think
you
everybody
can't really
just
do that with anybody. It's always too much.
What is the word that
Buttress.
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 I mean, it's just so. But their defense, is going to keep them in some games. But the offense has to change. I don't know how that is. I just don't feel like right now Arch Manning has a lot of confidence. And if you're asking me if Georgia can win against Texas at home, yeah, I think by double digits and more.
It's aggressive.
I think by double digits and more. I think.
Well, they beat it by double digits last year. So.
I think Georgia matches up. They matched up well with them last year without Arch Manning. They will match up again well with them again. So I don't know. A lot can change. They have a great head coach, a great coordinator, a great offensive coordinator, offensive mind who will get everything together. And I am sick and tired of everybody that's saying Florida, Texas, it's gonna bring another generation of terrible QB play, like another. And I'm just like, guys, come on. But I am a little concerned, so I got him at number 8. Sorry about my spill that I had to put out there.
No, I understand. I just have blind faith in the talent, the defense, and Steve Sarkisian, which is why I have him at number 3. Number 2 and 1, I don't really think we have much to talk about with these two teams. Oregon and Ohio State. Oregon dominated again.
I got Oregon at 3.
Okay, who do you have at number 2?
Miami.
Wow, that's
I'm invested, man. I'm invested. I got the U at 2. I don't know. The way they move the line of scrimmage, the way they can just dominate the line of scrimmage impresses me more than any other team has impressed me, other than OSU. But, they can dominate the line of scrimmage. Carson Beck has looked great. He has looked like a top quarterback, as I was expecting. But I'm really invested now. I do think they are a little beatable, but right now to me they look super complete. So I got them at number 2, but number 3 not too far behind them. It's the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, I think Oregon and Ohio State are the two most talented teams in the country. Oregon did struggle. Ohio State rather did struggle a little bit against Ohio last week, but they still dominated on defense. If you look at the stats in that game, Ohio never had a chance to move the ball very well on offense.
Is nasty.
And Jeremiah Smith had 170 total yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's back, and Ohio State, I'm really not worried about them at all. Best team in the country, in my opinion.
Yes.
So that is what we've got for Sellers Shenanigans. I think we might do OP next episode due to time constraints.
Yeah, we went a bit over.
But that's what I got. Again, next episode we're going to try and do one more before the predictions. I will come out with my total resume-based rankings for the top 12. We'll do OP. We'll do some other stuff. Can't wait for that.
Hey,
yeah.
Can we briefly look at picks?
Yes, we can, because Will dominated.
Woohoo!
Huge win for Will this week. going through them, of course, we start with the highs. I believe we both had Georgia.
Yes.
We both had Pitt. Did Pitt win that game?
They lost.
Pitt lost.
West Virginia won in OT, 31-24.
I just completely was watching the Georgia game.
I know. I got sidetracked. I mean, I wasn't really ever watching it.
Big win for West Virginia. Wow, they beat Ohio, lose to Ohio, and then beat Pitt. Interesting.
Yeah.
We both had Miami. Miami won. We both had LSU. LSU won. We
had Notre Dame, I guess.
Yeah, we both had Notre Dame. That lost. So now we'll go with the difference. I had Colorado. Will had Houston. I had Clemson. Will had Georgia Tech. I had, what else was different? I had Arkansas. Will had Ole Miss. I had Notre Dame. Will had Notre Dame. I had South Carolina. Will had South Carolina. Right? No, you picked Vandy. You picked Vandy. Will picked Vandy. And I don't even want to talk about this game.
Cal, baby!
Stop!
JKS!
I will leave the room.
JKS!
I will leave the room.
Tua 2.0.
That's it. That's it for our podcast. I'm not talking about that anymore. I don't want to talk about that game at all.
So what was that? That was
you won.
Houston.
I don't mind with Will beating me, but the Minnesota. I'm so sad about Minnesota.
Houston.
So you got Houston, Georgia Tech, Ole Miss, Vandy, and Cal. So you are now winning by 4.
Cal won over who again?
I will literally end the podcast. I'll cut it off. I'm so upset about that. So I that's for the picks. We'll do more picks next week, of course. But Will is winning for now. He's dominated the last 2 weeks.
They wrote me off. I didn't write back. Geno Smith, you're down by 14, but you can turn around.
We'll see about that. So that's all we have for this edition of the podcast. Thanks so much for watching. It was a fun one. Go make somebody smile this week. Go love each other. Go be a vessel for God's love in this world. That's what we're all called to do. And have a great week.
See you.